Every once in a while, you realize that you started doing videos because, someday you might actually put them up on YouTube so the family can keep up with what's going on. And then you look back on it and you go, well, if you're going to put it up on YouTube, other people might see it. So you want to have a little bit better content than just basic garbage and, aimed more at people that don't know who you are. So here is a 1998 Yamaha Warrior 350 that I bought very inexpensively from a former co-worker. It was in very, very rough shape. It hadn't been maintained for many, many years. The wheels were completely wore out and bald. One of them had a big rip in the side of it, so it was completely flat. The grips were coming off of it. The throttle barely worked. The clutch was froze up. I did get it loose, but the cable didn't last very long. Nothing had been greased in forever. The rear tire had super swampers on it that were completely wore out, so basically it just slid everywhere. If it was on dry, it would just slide everywhere. If it was in wet, it would just sink. So the carburetor had been replaced, but it did need a little bit of a cleanup. The petcock was leaking, so it was leaking fuel all the way through the carburetor, and it was getting into the crankcase, so it fueled out the oil, so you ended up, well, it's going to end up needing to be rebuilt, or, who knows what. If the bearings go, I don't think I'd actually rebuild the engine. Splitting the case and doing all that is kind of a pain. The chain was garbage, absolutely garbage. I worked it a lot. I got a little bit loose, but it was so stretched out it was wearing off the sprockets. Really not worth working on. So I replaced front and rear sprockets, geared it up. That's all going to be in the video coming up. Got the rear brake working, put a better battery in it. I put an unspillable battery in there because nobody likes battery spills. I got a new petcock, so it's not leaking through the carburetor anymore. The quad runs pretty good. You notice the new seat, the new fuel tank cover, the new grips. Did a whole bunch of work on this, and now it's a pretty nice wheeler. It gets pretty good, and you'll see it moving a little bit later in the video. Just picked up this old Yamaha Warrior, 98, I think it is. Used to have a motorcycle repair shop, so that's just something to do, something to mess with, maybe go out and play with if I make it halfway as decent. And again, if you follow me, you'll see the progress on that. That's my regular ride if I'm out for a putt. Well, tonight I'm just going to do a little bit of cleanup and take a little bit of a look at this and decide what I'm going to do with it. I need to get at least one new tire so I can roll the thing, get it out of here so I have a little more space to work. So just tire sizes and start assessing the situation, decide exactly what's going to happen with it. You can see, it has some stuff on it. It ought to be fun to play with if I ever actually get my round to it. I think new tires might be on the list. But this is my first effort. Let's I expect the solenoid to go click, click, click when I do this. So I'm just going to turn on the key and hit the starter and see if it just goes click, click, click or actually does something. Alright. It does something. Alright, well, let's move on to fuel and see if we can actually get this puppy to start maybe tonight. We'll see. There's a chance. Alright, well, it runs. I just ran it out of gas. Here, let's see if adding a little choke she might start. Sure. So she runs good. Turn everything off. Just ran it down in the street and around in a circle because I kind of need a front tire. Don't care. Early assessment. Need a tire. The brake is there, but it's all the way against the handlebar. Not super effective. So I'm going to flush the front brakes. I haven't even tried the rear brakes yet. Runs, drives, transmission works, reverse works. Low beams work. High beams don't work at all. I assume it's probably something in the switch, or maybe it's in the bulbs or something. Nice and bright. Engine runs good. Doesn't make any funny noises. Doesn't run great. It runs all right. You give it a little. If you jump on the throttle, she dies pretty hard. But that's probably just going to be some carburetor tuning. Fortunately, I do know how to do that. Got a few things, like this guard here is extremely loose, which I assume that screw is screwed. I'll see if I can get that out. If I can't, no big deal. It can go without. It's not like I'm going to be too awful worried about perfection yet. But for now, it's just going to be something to go and beat around out in the hills with. Need a front tire. The starter works good, reverse works good. I have no tail light, so need to find some wires, figure out where the tail light is, so I can get a brake light hooked up so I can make it street legal, since in Arizona it's so easy to make anything street legal. Suspension works. Chain is rusty as hell. As you can see there, extremely loose, but that's okay. That's again something that's real easy to fix. Just go through and take and ride it a little bit, and it's got a few dents and dings. Obviously been put through the ringer a little bit, but go through and lube it, and first I can get a tire on it so I can actually take it for a test ride and see how it does. But take and flush that front brake, make sure that it's working. I'm sure I'll end up flushing the rear brake if it's functional at all. Yeah, but it works. Doesn't rock wildly, so it doesn't appear to have any bent axles or anything like that. All right, well, it's a couple of days later, and I rode it a little bit. I'm getting a seat cover. I'm going to have to get a little foam also, or I'm going to be ordering, I should say. I'm also going to be ordering a countershaft seal, because she's got a pretty good leak. That's why there's so much buildup of crap down there. I did put a new fuel line on, fixed the leak in the petcock. While I'm getting the countershaft seal, I'm also going to get sprockets, because this thing is geared really low. I don't think it'll do 50 miles an hour. So I'm going to get a larger front sprocket, and I do have room for it in there. I've already checked, and I think I'll probably keep the same rear sprocket, and I'll probably use this chain until it wears out. But the carburetor seems to work good. Definitely has a dead spot. If you throttle it too fast, it just shuts off. So normally but if you let it get up some RPM, it's got plenty of power. Normally what that means is that the needle is set a little too shallow, or a little too deep, I should say, into the jet. So I need to lift up that needle, probably two slots. That'll probably give me what I need. But getting it out of there is only a little bit of a pain as compared to others that I've done. So, but that's okay. I want to go through the airbox. I need to go through the brakes. You can see that fluid is low. I haven't flushed the front brakes yet. I will be flushing the front brakes. I've got 2 new tires on order, and so we'll just keep up as we go. Alrighty, here we are a couple days later. Got the new front wheels on. New front tires, not wheels. But got the new front tires on. Took it for a quick little test beat. Runs pretty good for what it is. Runs really good. Can't wait to take it out and actually ride it somewhere where I can get after it. This was just down the road quick and back. And lights work, and way out of adjustment. Really need to be adjusted. They're way high, but that's an easy fix. So that will be next. And here, let's see. Seeing as how I've actually got gas in it this time, we'll just give her a quick little spin and see if she just fires up real quick. Headlights work. Runs pretty darn good for what it is. I had a rattle every time I hit the throttle. Figured out what that was real quick. So that's got to get fixed, which means removed. That's all right. Yeah, you can see where the oil's coming down there. It's actually made a clean spot on the engine. That's pretty impressive. So tomorrow I'm going to take it down to the car wash, clean it up, get rid of that crap. I've got the seal coming. I've got a 15-tooth sprocket because I want more gear. I'm old. I don't need all that low-end power. I'd rather be able to get down the road in a quick way. I've got a seat cover coming. I just have to get foam so that we don't end up with spikes coming through them, because yeah, that'd be nasty if you ran into something, wouldn't it? Yeah, just slide up into those. Yay! That's all right. I'm not having any more kids anyway. Cut the webbing off so that you can actually get your foot underneath to shift. There's the web going across from here. Completely blocked being able to get your foot under it. I can adjust it, and I'm going to adjust it a little bit so that it rides just a little bit higher, a little bit easier to get to for that whole shifting thing. It does have a twist throttle on it. It is keeping the twist throttle. I ordered grips. Well, it's a couple days later. Finally got all the parts. Got them all installed. So, grand total, the quad, cheap, very, very cheap. $131 for the front tires. I got some 6-ply desert tires, since that's the area. As you can tell, it's not lush and green like where I came from. The seal is replaced, or the countershaft seal. You can see that I lubed the chain with some dry lube. Yeah, figured might as well. It looks like I have to do just a little bit more. Adjusted it. Replaced the fuel line with something that I had sitting around. Put a new seat cover on it. Nice and sticky. I put some fabric in there because I just don't care if it's if it's a little lumpy. Move around so much on it, it doesn't matter anyway. The rear tires still hold air. I'll run them for a short time, not for too long. There's not a whole lot left of them, and there's some pretty major cracking going on, but everything seems like it works real well. I gotta lube up the cables. There's still a whole lot of work to be done, but for now it runs, it rides, it looks a whole lot better than it did when I got it, and it was very, very inexpensive. I wanted a quad for a very long time, but where I lived there wasn't really much of anywhere to go riding, unless you wanted to take and go to like state trails, that kind of thing. So now that we're out here where there's a whole lot of riding to be done, gives me something to go out and just beat on, not feel bad about it. Well, comparing dollars to fun, I'm having a blast. So, as I was saying about area to ride, there are little roads everywhere. My truck and trailer are actually down there. Let's see if I can find it here. There it is. So, I'm just having a ball out here. Cost, next best thing to nothing. A little bit of gas, occasional oil change, that kind of thing. Man, awful hard to complain. Yeah, I'll be back. When I decided to put my videos up on YouTube, mainly for family that are distant to be able to see what I'm up to, I decided, yeah, you might as well do it right and, you know, maybe get some videos that people might watch and see what happens. You never know. I'm not going to become the next YouTube sensation. Well, okay, I don't expect to, but you never know. I know there's this guy from Britain that is doing pretty good, and he's just talking, so I talk good. Or I talk a lot, not necessarily good. You can see the back end has got a little bit of a bend in it, you know, but other than that, this thing is fantastic. I go out and beat it around out in the desert, never have an issue with it, runs great. It does warm up a little bit too much over time. That's because of the fuel in the oil. Did a little bit of extra wear to it, so it's not real happy. But other than that, it runs really good, rides really good. As long as I don't try and beat on it hard all day long and take breaks for it to cool down, it's fine. We'll see how long it lasts. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do with it. If you want to leave me comments about how I'm doing it wrong, feel free. I don't mind. If you have anything that you want to see, if you want to see more stuff on engines or toys or whatever, let me know. You know, I'll see what I can do. So, until next time.